Let's go out to the guest line, and tonight, Leroy, is the debut of The Ultimate Surfer. It's a 2-night premiere on ABC, 10 o'clock tonight. Even got some Miami representation on the show. Jesse Palmer's hosting that, and he joins us now on the guest line. Jesse, thanks for the time, man. Really appreciate it.
Guys, thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, man. So we were having this debate.
Do you surf?
Dude, I grew up in Ottawa, Canada. That is the mecca of pro surfing, as you both know.
Of course.
So I did zero surfing as a kid. I did snow surfing. That's called snowboarding. I did a lot of that. I tried surfing, not very good. But I do have to say, when I was with the Gators and with the Giants, I was always a fan from a distance of surfing. Kelly Slater was a guy that I really looked up to. Obviously a name synonymous with the sport. He sort of transcended it. 11-time world champion. Kelly's like the LeBron. He's probably more than LeBron of surfing. So when I found out I had a chance to kind of be a part of this show, he was going to be a part of it, and we were going to be filming this whole thing out at a surf ranch out in California. To me, I was all in.
The surf ranch sounds unbelievably fun. Are you with us, Jesse? Because we were talking about this. Now, Leroy Hoard makes fun of me about this, that he thinks that the ocean should be feared for sharks and all types of crazy animals and things like that. When it comes to me, Jesse, I like the beach and I don't mind scuba diving or snorkeling, all that type of stuff. But if there's seaweed in that first layer of the ocean, I'm out, dude. I'm not going in with their seaweed. Seaweed's disgusting.
Dude, I know. Global warming, man, it's changed. How many times, like in South Beach now, like you wake up in the morning, go down there, and it's like, remember when all that stuff was like washing up on the beach? Got the smell to it. You can't even get within like 10 feet of the water. You're like high stepping in karaoke drill over the seaweed just to try to get in the first place. I'm with you, man. Totally with you.
So check out The Ultimate Surfer. Premieres tonight, 10 o'clock on ABC. You guys can check it out tonight down here in Miami, and also another event tomorrow. You guys can check out Jesse on that show. Now, Jesse, we're very excited. College football's coming in close, man. We got a monster to start this season. Canes, Alabama. Give me some faith here, man. What do you think? Do you think the Canes have any shot in hell in this one?
Listen, two names, two words, De'Aaron King is what I'll say. I mean, this is a guy, when he's healthy, he's just one of the best football players in college football, period. And so I think when you have a guy like him with the experience he has, I think you do always have a shot. Bama's a juggernaut. We know that. They've lost a ton of NFL talent, I think 6 first-round draft picks, and they reload, and we know that too. And there's always 5 stars coming in. And so we're at a point now, I think, with teams like Alabama and Clemson and Ohio State where we just expect the next guy to step in and just take off and do it. But I don't know. To me, I don't know how you guys feel. I just I have to see it before I can fully believe that. And I know Bryce Young is a tremendous talent. He's taken over at quarterback, and they've lost receivers, and they've lost offensive linemen, and Najee Harris at running back. So many different pieces on both sides of the ball. But I just got to see it. And I know with Miami and Manny Diaz, I know the defense will be coached up and ready to go. They lost a lot of pass rush, obviously, to the draft last year, but they bring in DeAndre Johnson from Tennessee as a transfer to kind of help shore some of that up. I don't know. I don't. Everyone's kind of telling me that it's a Bama blowout. It's a given. I gotta see it to believe it. And if De'Aaron King really is as close to healthy as everybody's saying, I know he's already been tabbed to start this one. I'm giving the Canes a shot. I don't know how you guys feel.
You had me at De'Aaron King. Once you said De'Aaron King in the tone that you did, I just basically I didn't even really hear what the rest of you said. I kind of was like, oh, Jesse thinks they're gonna win. That's the way I read it, Leroy.
Yeah, but Jesse has a point from this standpoint. We always make the assumption that these teams are going to retool. And when they have this stretch, we've seen other schools have this stretch. Remember, USC had the stretch like this. Florida had a stretch. Now Clemson is kind of having. When it ends, it doesn't just fade away. It just ends. And then it's like you're spending the next few years trying to get that back. So, yeah, to his point, it could happen, but it's been so long. It's been so long. Have you ever seen a college program like put out first rounders and retool this long?
It's to your point, no. And what's even more, I think, impressive about it from Alabama's standpoint is it's not just always having to like replace your starting quarterback or first rounders, but how many coaches does Nick Saban lose? to other programs or to the NFL. Like he just lost Steve Sarkisian last year as an offensive coordinator. That was some of the best play calling I'd ever seen in my life in college football. And obviously it helps having Mac Jones and Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle and all those guys. I get it. But, I mean, I feel like Saban loses one or two or three key coaches from his staff every single year, sometimes even more. And now he's got Bill O'Brien calling plays, who, of course, we all remember from the Houston Texans. Here's something crazy that I don't know how many people know. Alabama is such a dominant program, and it's become a place that coaches want to be. Like my buddy Robert Gillespie, who was a running back with the Gators, he was UNC's running back coach last year. He's now there coaching running backs. And I mean, 2 NFL coaches, head coaches last year, are now coaching at Alabama. How does that happen? So Doug Marrone is now there, and Bill O'Brien's there. So Saban's not just tooling through players and, having to kind of, reset the identity and get everybody's expectation up and scare them with complacency, but he's bringing in these coaches and having to coach them on the culture and just gets everybody on the same page. And, I don't think, with all this turnover, I don't think Alabama is going to necessarily look like the Alabama we saw in the national championship game last year in week 1 against the Hurricanes. But it really is incredible what Nick Saban's been able to build there because you're right. I don't think at least the 15 years that I've been at ESPN covering the sport, I haven't seen, for lack of a better term, a dynasty like I think what we've seen Nick Saban build there.
Now, Jesse, this has been a very strange and busy offseason for college football and kind of the landscape of the sport changing. You're an SEC guy. Do you like what's going on where the SEC is now bringing in even more, powerhouses from other conferences to make them even more of a monster? And now it seems like there's going to be some alliance forming between the Pac-12 and the Big Ten and the ACC. Like, what do you make of all of this that's kind of gone on the conferences shifting to become bigger, more powerful?
If I'm wearing my player hat or former player hat as a former SEC guy, I would say I love this. If I was playing in that conference right now, I'd be happy that 2 big-time programs like Oklahoma and Texas were coming in. It makes our league better. It makes my experience as a player better. I get to go to Texas and Oklahoma now and play these games, and it just makes my experience better. So from that standpoint, if I was a fan in the SEC, that's what I would think. But as a fan of college football, I just worry about super conferences and sort of the extinction of others throughout this whole process. And I think one big question a lot of people have right now is what's going to happen to the Big 12 and those remaining teams? What are we going to see there? Conference expansion, it started obviously, years back, and I think it was 2010 or 2011. We saw a bunch of movement then. As a purist and someone that just loves rivalries, which I think is one of the best things about the sport, I would miss, Bedlam. Like, I love Oklahoma versus Oklahoma State, and I hope that doesn't go away. When Texas A&M left the Big 12 and went to the SEC, that Texas A&M game went away. I was in the booth calling that game, I think, 6 years in a row. That was one of the best games of the year for me, and it was one of the coolest experiences. And I know to the people in the state of Texas, not just college football fans, but most importantly them, losing that game, that really hurt and it meant a lot. So, I think conference expansion, it obviously there's positives to it based on how you look at it, but I know it also takes away, I think, from the fabric of what makes the sport so great. So I'm sort of still really undecided on all this, and like you guys, you're reading the news and you're waiting to find out what's happening with the Pac-12 and the Big Ten and the ACC. I mean, it's just so much happening. It seems to all be happening so fast. It's just really changing the landscape of the sport that we all love so much.
Check out Jesse Palmer tonight. You got The Ultimate Server premiering on ABC 10 p.m. It's also tomorrow night as well. You can check it out. They got a little hometown representation. Anastasia Ashley from Miami Beach, Florida, on the program as well. So you guys have a hometown interest if you want somebody to root for on the show. Jesse, thanks for the time, man. Sounds like an awesome show.
Thanks, Jesse.
Guys, appreciate it. Thanks so much, guys.
All right, there you go. Jesse Palmer. Check him out tonight.